But I love witches.
Double, double, toil and trouble, let that fire burn and cauldron bubble. It's time to learn more about this icon of horror, the witch. Attending black covens, flying on broomsticks, and brewing hideous concoctions for foul purposes. The witch is an entrancing figure in culture and film. Whether these films are portraying witches as mischievous women, or are scathing indictments of sexist societies, I love all things witches, and it's an honor to get to discuss 12 Underseen witch movies. I've split these movies into 4 main categories. First, witch hysteria. These movies are mostly about witch hysteria and witch hunters, their hideous motivations. Second, witchy fun times. These films are mostly about witchy antics and have a more fun, jovial tone about them. Third, witchy academia. In watching these movies, I found that several revolved around the academic study of witches. Lastly, psychosexual witches. These movies use the witch mythos to explore the psychological crevices of sexuality. These symbols will appear on screen to denote which category or categories each film can fall under. Let's start with the matron of all witch movies, 1922's Häxan. Directed by Benjamin Christensen, this Nordic documentary and narrative fusion abbreviates the mythos and societal expectations of witches across history. It's a great foundation for anyone interested in the subgenre, featuring depictions of fun witch activities such as bewitching a cow or hexing a shoe, and other such stereotypical witchy antics, alongside real footage of communing with the devil in black mass. So, if you're looking for some ideas about what to do this fall, look no further than Häxan. This film represents a cultural, foundational piece for what a witch is and does. It is presented with equal parts seriousness and levity, utilizing humor alongside sympathy for real victims of witch hunting, creating a seamless balance of tones. It is thoughtful in how it connects historical beliefs about witches to a lack of scientific, psychological knowledge, and is empathetic to how women were treated due to this societal lack of understanding. Quintessentially witchy, Häxan's imagery and impact are ubiquitous, presented in gorgeous blue and sepia with elaborate sets, props, and costumes, and mind-boggling special effects for the era. This silent film is not one you'll want to miss.
Do you believe in witchcraft?
Before he directed his magnum opus, Ole Lamel delivered a quintessential witch film, with his 1983 released The Devonsville Terror. Stop me if you've heard this plot before. In 1683, a town was left cursed after carrying out a brutal witch hunt, which culminated in the gruesome execution of 3 women. Now, 300 years later, the descendants are afraid of 3 young, educated women who have recently moved to town. Could these women be the witches, reincarnated, here to seek their grim revenge? Set in rural Maine, adorned with beautiful autumn trees, and illuminated by cozy, naturalistic fire, moonlight, and lightning, the breezily paced Devonsville Terror is a treat to behold. Lommel supplants a classic New England witch tale into the world of the 1980s. With gradual exploration including feminism, the ills of toxic patriarchy, and religious indoctrination. Tune into this gorgeous witchy tale, the generational reverberations of strife between the sexes. One last note. This movie may feature the best face melt in cinema history. It's pretty gnarly.
that you're impotent!
Mean-spirited, violent, and cruel, this 1970 exploitation film pulls no punches in its scathing and riveting depiction of witch hunters and their motivations. Content warning for this one. Mark of the Devil was directed by Michael Armstrong and had a tumultuous production. Set in 17th century Austria, and even filmed on location of a genuine Austrian castle with genuine torture devices from a local museum, this is not for the faint of heart. When Udo Kier and his beautiful, beautiful blue eyes fall in love with an accused witch, he finds out firsthand how difficult it can be to change a corrupt organization from the inside. Herbert Lom's Lord Cumberland is one of the most repulsive characters I've seen in a horror movie. Watching him work alongside Reggie Nalder's albino against Olivera Katrina is a disturbing treat. From the psychosexual excavation of the motivations of the witch hunters to the pain and anguish of the accused, Mark of the Devil is a certified feel-bad classic. It is sure to make you feel harrowed and engaged. Major content warning on this one. If you've ever been curious as to how torture equipment works, you will find out in excruciating detail. It's awash with gorgeous cinematography, inventive editing, and rich sound design, which coalesce into a disturbing package. Also, some intriguing use of phallic symbolism to track across this one.
Making the men impotent.
Night of the Eagle is a British film, also known by its American title, Burn, Witch, Burn. The film focuses on a husband and wife's relationship to each other, their professions, and their interpersonal incidents involving shaken confidence and trust.
This is Tansy, the bewitched wife. This is the professor who did not believe.
I do not believe.
It's staged with gorgeous black and white, and the cinematography exhibits motion and passion throughout, heightening the characters' feelings at hand. It's an emotionally driven story exploring interesting marriage dynamics. The witch elements almost act more as metaphorical devices, and allow the director and actors to dig into this character-driven story even further. With a more nuanced take on gender relations and dynamics, check out Night of the Eagle, an essential Witch Academia film. From the self-proclaimed schlockmeister Larry Buchanan comes the campy, ridiculous The Naked Witch. Full of low-budget 60s charm, coupled with a brief and easy hour runtime, this goofy exploitation film is a comical romp through the Texas countryside. When a student leaves to investigate and fact-find for his thesis on Texas witches, he bites off more than he can chew when he ends up in the sleepy town of Luckenbach, which years prior had been cursed by a witch. This sort of thing seems to happen a lot in this kind of movie. Libby Hall serves as the titular naked witch, seeking revenge against descendants of men who wronged her. With no budget but plenty of spunk, and absurd, spirited performances from the widely amateur cast and crew, this early 60s gem is sure to deliver low-brow, silly, witchy vibes. Is V the crowning achievement of the Soviet film industry? Maybe, maybe not. But this 1967 release is filled to the brim with essential spooky imagery. V is a folk horror fairy tale about an affable, bowl-cut touting priest and his misadventure with a witch. It features sequences that transport you to another world, with beautifully staged scenes, both naturalistic and fantastical, and witch antics aplenty. V offers unique cinematography and impressive special effects, such as flying witches and a large cast of fascinating folk creatures under the witch's thrall. Seriously, you've got to see what's going on with this skeleton. Check out V for an earnest and extraordinary time, complete with a flying coffin and a dance breakdown. Next up is Mexican horror The Witch's Mirror, directed by Chano Ureta, who also directed The Brainiac, which features the iconic Brainiac. In Witch's Mirror, Elena is murdered by her husband and returns as a ghostly visage. Her caring godmother, Sarah, who possesses otherworldly powers, promises vengeance will be carried out. The cavernous stone rooms feel grand and oppressive. The musical score and engrossing special effects enhance that atmosphere. But the benevolent Sarah carries viewers through these burdensome feelings in her pursuit of justice. Across the magnificent mansion, spooky cemeteries, and a cadaver-filled lab. Check out The Witch's Mirror for ghostly antics alongside fun, mad doctor elements.
El espejo de la bruja.
Did somebody spike my orange juice with LSD, or is this Abigail's kind of a joke?
This is a weird one. I recommend only for mature audiences. A sexploitation witch story should be straightforward, simple and easy, right? There's no pressure to make an experimental film, but that's exactly what Victor Luminera did in 1971. Even though it's obviously made for cheap, the construct of this film is effectively mystifying. If you're looking for a digestible, comfortable narrative, you're completely out of luck. So, there's a psychic witch. When summoned, she offers a young woman the bargain of a lifetime: fantastic sex adventures. The film then unfolds into a sequence of sexual encounter vignettes, each one more disturbing and vulgar than the last. There are some genuinely unnerving and subversive sequences here, the overwhelming standout elements being the riveting colors and editing. 4D Witch is an off-kilter kaleidoscopic explosion. Lacking diegetic sound or dialogue, the filmmaker has opted into utilizing salacious voiceovers for the whole film.
Hi, my name is Cindy. I'm about to let you in on the story of a girl possessed by an evil ancestor, which could happen to your mind too if you ever get mixed up with witchcraft.
Not to mention the original song written for the movie, which repeats incessantly. Many of the scenes in this movie are simply moving shapes and colors, uncomfortable close-ups in red-tinted light, or anonymous feeling stock footage. These flickering shots of disparate, unconventional imagery, married with the unusual sound, result in an uncomfortable, uncanny experience. There's a sense of portentous perversion, both of characters and filmmaking, ever present. Whereas I can't in good faith call this a good movie, it's definitely an interesting outlier in the horror genre. Watch this for the experimental visuals, if nothing else.
And I followed all the abracadabra right to the letter.
Beware of the
There is a superstition, and will anyone survive?
Banned as a video nasty, this 1982 release from James W. Robertson is tragically underappreciated. When two men are mysteriously murdered in an abandoned house after playing a prank, this witch-infused, Amityville horror-inspired film gets off to a sprint start. While one could argue this is more of a haunted house film than a witch film, I'd say there's an unconventional overlap. Not appreciated in its time by critics, Superstition has aged gracefully. The kills in this are the stars. With an almost Final Destination feeling, logic and rhythm behind them, characters are dispatched with an odd variety of methods. Regardless of how many horror movies you've seen, you won't be able to predict where some of these sequences are headed. There's some genuine beauty captured in the camera work, with leering shots into windows and door frames, peeking into dark, liminal spaces. They get their money's worth out of the eerie, haunted feeling set design. The house itself is an unknowable antagonist, every crevice hiding some new terror. The score is fun and oddly reminiscent of some horror that came before it. There are a few standout performances from the cast, including my favorite by Billie Jane, who turned in an iconic performance in Bloody Birthday the year before. While Superstition may not be perfect, what works, works well.
Superstition. The victims who died were the lucky ones.
Burn the witch!
Squint through the impenetrable fog in 1960's City of the Dead. Directed by John Llewellyn Moxey, and also known by the less interesting title Horror Hotel, this black and white film is gorgeous to behold. Following the standard plot for this kind of thing, a witch is burned in 1692 in a small town in Massachusetts. And now, 300 years later, a curse may still be over the town. When college student Nan Barlow, played by Venetia Stevenson, begins investigating the curse, she'll realize that some stones were better left unturned. City of the Dead features riveting performances, including horror legend Christopher Lee as a charismatic professor, Patricia Jessel in a hefty dual role, Valentine Dial delivering ominous one-liners in his signature deep timbre, and a cast of British actors attempting their best American accents. But let's talk about the real star here, fog. Is City of the Dead the foggiest movie of all time? Whereas I can't say for certain, it's definitely in the running. Foggy roads, foggy towns, foggy cemeteries. The characters don't walk so much as glide through the ethereal ambiance. This gross abuse of fog on set lends a turgid, oppressive atmosphere that many films fail to attain. Throw this one on during bad weather for a spooky good time.
I'm jersey by the living God!
Imagine the witch-hunting hysteria of Witchfinder General, but filmed with the cunning sensibilities of The Passion of Joan of Arc. This 1970s Czechoslovakian film is a blistering drama, stuffed to the gills with vivid close-ups and wide shots, depicting the horrors of being caught up in witch hysteria, set against a compelling musical score to convey motion. This is an upsetting one. The suffering of the falsely accused drones on in agonizing perpetuity. Witchhammer sadistically presents oppressive and corrupted institutions exploiting their power over disenfranchised people. Even when showcasing excruciating torture, Witchhammer is still infused with empathy for the victims. Religious imagery is baked into every sequence of the film. From references to the crucifixion and Judas, the filmmakers imbue these images into the film to highlight the hypocrisy of those in power. Witchhammer's skillful filmmaking works to effectively exhibit plights of the accused and institutional injustice. Content warning on this one, you should vet this for yourself. Last, but definitely not least, comes the psychological 1976 horror, The Witch Who Came from the Sea. Shot early in the career of legendary cinematographer Dean Cundey, the camera work is at times lonely, often leering and seething, with uncanny zoom in and zoom out shots. I just love the way 1970s films look. Cundey and director Matt Cimber utilize grainy seaside beach aesthetics and drench the film with psychosexual imagery, conveying a dark and serious subject matter. While this is not a typical witch movie, It explores the reverberations of violence throughout generations, much like the previously discussed witch hysteria films on this list. But whereas many of those films were more invested in religious, cultural, and societal violence, the witch who came from the sea is immediately encamped in exploring the impact of childhood abuse. Terrifyingly effective sound design is used to place the viewer in a harrowing, overwhelming position. The script is haunting and the prose is beautiful. The acting is phenomenal, and the sets are painted with bright yet bleak, pessimistic colors. I was uncomfortable a few times throughout this one, but mostly I was just really, really sad. This is a certified feel-bad classic.
Sailing over the bounding main.
Thank you for watching this 12 Underseen Witch Movies video. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to see more from me in the future. And follow me over on Letterboxd and Instagram. Bye!